So today is August 30th and Tom MacDonald has just released his newest album on his website titled Ghostories. Ooh, spooky. Just like his last one, you can't get this anywhere else. You can't buy it on iTunes, you can't stream it. You can only get it on his website because this is for the real Tom MacDonald fans. And I'm a real Tom MacDonald fan. So I'm just happy that I'm done with this video and won't have to listen to any more Whitey McWhiteman for a long time. So I am instantly copying this with the fastest shipping possible to Scotland and awaiting my $30 worth of quality music. $30 and I don't even get a nice jewel case for my CD. What is this, Tom? What is this? There's his signature right there, there's the disc, and we're about to embark on this Ghostories journey together. I will be giving my thoughts on all 21 tracks on the album.
Oh, God.
And I will be playing short clips of these songs, as always, to give context to my points, but if you guys like what you hear and want to hear the songs in full, because like I said, you can only get this album from Tom's store, you can't stream it anywhere. If you want to buy it, I will leave a link to Tom's store down in the description below. For those of you who don't want to buy the album, but are still somewhat curious as to what it sounds like, I bought it, so you don't have to. Also, my twin, CDTV the G, will be joining in on this video to show short clips of his first reactions to each song that I'm going to cover on this album to introduce them. So if you want to subscribe to his channel, he's closing in on 100k. The link to his channel will also be in the description below. Alright, let's just jump into this and see what we're in for.
Most controversial rapper probably shouldn't feel safe. People trying to kill
Most controversial rapper.
And not just LOL emojis for days.
Yeah, quit lying, been trying to kill giants. I don't really have a big diet for kids crying. Rumors, I hear the gossip, I just don't care. I'm not responsible. God is in the sky and there's a devil below. I want the most that didn't heard the stories they've told.
Whoa. It's actually quite well produced, this one, I'll give it that. The beat on this is nice right now. So this one started off strong with some beautiful, dramatic sounding production to get you wondering what's coming up, what's gonna happen, what's gonna be the first words out of Tom MacDonald's mouth. And then boom, Tom ruins it by proclaiming himself as the most controversial rapper and saying that there's people out to kill him for his lukewarm, relatively inoffensive music. Then drops an LOL emojis for days bar to make sure we kicked it off with some cringe. I know it's probably just a part of the rap persona that he portrays, but surely he doesn't believe that he's on this level of controversial. Like, from this song, you'd think he was the most targeted, hated rapper on the planet, because that's pretty much all that it talks about. The hook isn't too great either here, which is an issue I've had with quite a lot of Tom's songs, so this really sets you up for what to expect from the album. On the plus side though, this song actually has some really strong rhyme schemes throughout it. I can give Tom credit for that, and Tom bounced around the beat very nicely with his flows, switching up the flows pretty often.
Of you bums trying to act like friends never knew our shit. I don't know why you've been lying, you hate us, but through all our faces you smiling. Hey.
So I can say there's an improvement in that technical rapping aspect of his music, at least on this first song. It's also pretty cool how he tied this album title into his last album, Death Threats, by saying this.
Yeah, every single death threat I got, those were ghost stories. I'm so sorry you're choked and I'm not. Yeah.
It's a cool little way to have them kind of connected. You know what? This definitely could have started way worse. So I've already heard this one, but we're gonna talk about it, so. I will not apologize if you ain't one of mine, fam. Yes, I know the words to a Tom MacDonald song. What can I say? This is a good sounding one. Keep hating, you're wasting all of your energy on me. This was one that I touched on a little bit in my Worst Rappers in the Game video on Tom, and to sum it up, I think it's honestly one of his best songs. Sure, it does have cringy lyrics and an almost off-putting level of smugness, but so does every Tom MacDonald song. At least this one sounds pretty great. Those upbeat piano keys give off an infectiously happy vibe, and for once, he has a solid and pretty catchy hook on this song. Of course, I don't fully agree with the lyrics, it's just Tom overestimating how much he triggers people with his music, which is also basically what the first song on this album was. This is the same thing, just with a different paint job. But musically, I can say that this one is pretty damn nice. One of the best sounding tracks that he has.
I used to get bullied by kids that went to my school. I had every FUBU shirt that I could match with my shoes. I was writing raps till I was learning guitar. Bumping Tupac and Offspring, I had them both in my heart. And success has been the sweetest motherfucking revenge. They called me a winner, they called me a punk. He called me a loser. I bet y'all couldn't believe the man I become.
Okay, I could think of a few ways to bully the man you've become, Tom.
Go to hell, I'm a LOL. I'm way sicker than emojis with a green face. Y'all are bullies, I can tell. Y'all like that. I'm Tom MacDonald, bitch.
Hell yeah, bro. LOLOL. I'm way sicker than emojis with a green face. No pun intended, that line is just sickening. Not to mention, it's almost the exact same as the LOL line that was on the first song, and it was cringy as hell that time. It's even more cringy this time. Also, you see these lyrics on the screen, by the way? You know who transcribed those lyrics on Genius? It was me. Because if you haven't noticed, when I'm talking about songs, I do like to show the lyrics I'm talking about on the screen, and I show them from genius.com. No one else had written down what the lyrics were from this album, because it's not on streaming services, and because you have to buy it to hear it. So for 11 out of these 21 songs, I had to sit through, listen to the album, and write down every single lyric from those 11 songs. So at least you could say that I definitely know this album inside and out lyrically. But I can't be too mad at it though. There's not that many cringy lines on this song, and it's one with an overall message that I can get behind. Someone sound the alarms. It's a Tom MacDonald song where I actually agree with the content. This track is all about how he overcame being bullied and outcast when he was younger to becoming this successful, famous person that he is now. And he also touches quite a lot on how his image and his music mixes elements of punk rock and rap together, and how that was kind of frowned on by both sides. The rappers didn't like the punk side of things, and the punk rock people didn't like the rap side of things. And he draws a nice parallel when he says, "They used to follow me home, so I left early from class. Now they follow me on Twitter, I'm just doing the math." Parts of it can come off as a little bitter, but that's understandable, I guess, if the extent of him being bullied is as bad as he says it was on this song. Although again, have you noticed that the overall narrative is, you guys all hate me, but I don't care because I'm rich and successful now, just like tracks 1 and 2 we're talking about? I'm starting to see a little bit of a pattern here. It is a mostly well-intentioned song that I'm sure could be useful for motivating the young teenage portion of his fan base who might be going through a similar thing. And from what I've seen in the comments, young teenagers is the majority of his fan base. I'm kind of surprised. This album hasn't even been close to terrible for me so far. I wonder if we're gonna keep that up.
I don't have vaginas or some boobs, and you still don't know which bathroom you should choose, man. Y'all are so appalled.
Where is this gonna go?
Now you're just some beta males convinced that alpha men are Satan.
Oh, it's an alpha male anthem. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm gonna listen to this while downing 5 protein shakes and complaining about people on bodybuilding.com.
I think they'd like me better if I was like all the women. Help. You said be a man. Now it's like that I am. You grew up beard and bought some flannel, but you can't build a fence. Got a perfect examples of some millennial man. Got no.
Okay, boomer. Nope, of course we can't keep it up. It goes flying off the rails with this 4th track here. This one is a massive corn fest with a bad hook. The whole song is basically Tom calling himself an alpha male, the peak of masculinity, and calling out those pesky feminine beta males. Ugh. That's the whole song. Again, it's another "you are this, I Am This song. This man's whole persona is that people supposedly hate him. But yeah, that's the whole song. This supposed alpha male whining about how other men act. Because everyone knows, the main trait of an alpha male is focusing on what other people do in their lives so much to the point that you make a bitter song about it. I love that he followed up a track about overcoming bullying with a track about tearing other people down. He even has a line where he says, pro-woman slowly became the code name for anti-male, and you can just tell his fan base is gonna be like, oh my god, that was so woke, I can't believe Tom MacDonald was out here saying these things that people are too afraid to say. As if 14-year-olds haven't been making that exact same, pretty basic and kind of reductive point for years. And it's not getting better anytime soon, because up next, we have... Again, this is another one I've already heard. Where'd all these suicidal sad rappers come from?
They claim to be anxious, say they're depressed. They're faking it to gain something in common with some bands for a check. The record label's working for pharma that made anxiety trendy by using popular art.
This part, man. The big pharma conspiracy.
Y'all ain't real.
It is well made though, I'll give the song that, it's well put together. This was released quite a while before the album came out, back in March of this year I believe. And I believe this was really the point where I knew for certain that I shouldn't be taking this Tom MacDonald guy seriously at all. I think it was around the point where he said that emo rap was a conspiracy concocted by Big Pharma to make people more anxious and depressed so that they would have to buy more antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. Does Alex Jones have a co-writing credit on this one? Throughout the songs he accuses these emo rappers, he doesn't name anyone specifically, but he accuses them of faking their depression to connect more with their fans, just so they can make more popular songs and make more money off of it. And sure, maybe some of them are doing that, maybe some of them aren't genuine, but it's impossible to say. Just because someone doesn't express the symptoms of their mental illness the exact same way that you do, doesn't mean that they don't have the exact same mental illness. It's like this man is trying to gatekeep depression, because the whole song kind of takes this us against them stance. Like the chorus is basically saying, you're not depressed, we are, stop pretending to be like us. The only good thing about this song is it's another rare instance of a catchy and solid Tom MacDonald chorus. The internal rhymes within it really make it stick with you, and it's well delivered and mixed also. There's also the beat, which was produced by Tom himself. That was good as well, but that's pretty much the only highlights from this one.
We don't want drugs. Why isn't healthcare free? When our therapists, I'll need therapy. Don't need mental health awareness. Funded by the pharmaceutical terrorists. Doctors prescribing the pills are rewarded a bonus, but don't treat the ailment. Financial.
Oh, I actually like where he's going with this one.
Mission-based salesman. Rob dying last 10, paying for it with side effects. From dollar signs on their minds. I'm a mess.
Bruh, could this be? This is a lyrically solid Tom MacDonald song.
I just can't escape it. This adversarial Xanax solution to sicknesses, corporate agendas, and mixed with the wellness of people, creating a culture of illnesses.
In a sense, this song acts as an expansion of the whole kind of mental health, big pharma conspiracy that was mentioned on the previous track, Sad Rappers. But on this one, Tom takes a stance that's much more backed up by logic and facts, and it's actually agreeable. Talking about how he feels like doctors in the US are taking advantage of his mental health conditions just to make more money, rather than being concerned with helping his condition improve. And yeah, there's a lot of research out there that shows that talk-based therapy is much more effective when it comes to treating mental health in the long run than drug-based therapy. But doctors are encouraged by pharmaceutical companies to prescribe drug-based therapy more because that's where the money's at for the healthcare system. And because of that, this is one of Tom's best tracks lyrically to date. He genuinely has a lot of hard-hitting lyrics about the topic, and you can tell it comes from a place of genuine frustration with how this healthcare system works.
Feeling numb and indifferent, where my therapist listens. He makes notes in his book, and I'm sure if I look, I'd see names of prescriptions. I just can't escape it. This Ativan, Seroquel, Xanax, solution to sicknesses.
It's crazy what he can pull off when he isn't obsessed with maintaining a controversial image. This is a significantly better song about people taking advantage of your mental health for profit than Sad Rappers. It's actually a shame that a music video doesn't exist for this one, and the only way to hear it is by purchasing the album, because to me, this is a legitimately powerful and moving Tom MacDonald song.
I'm the king of the town, I should own it like I own this place. Got far, I got
There's a nice vibe to this one.
living a good life in a bad way. Looking for good times, finding the bad days.
Everything is great. Go ahead, check my page.
Oh, that kind of disrupted the vibe a little bit. Vibe check failed.
Put me on your playlist.
Ah, that auto-tune sounds so, like, weak.
Facing and feeling for anything hard. I reach with my arms, the walls and the ceilings are far, and I'm bleeding, surrounded by sharks.
This track had a good chunk of potential. It was pretty good sonically until we hit that goddamn chorus. We have another bad hook, boys. I get what it's going for. It has the very slow build-up with low-key singing over those soft guitar strings, which actually sounded quite nice, by the way. Tom's vocals are pretty competent during the verses. And then it bursts into what's supposed to be this more aggressive and explosive chorus, but I just don't feel like it was executed all that well. The worst part of the hook, though, is that auto-tune that he uses during it. I don't have an issue with auto-tune, but I do think that Tom often uses it pretty poorly. On here it has this really thin sound to it that just cheapens how professional the track sounds. Again, it's one of the ones with alright content. It's got that whole fame won't fix all of your problems narrative, and while that's nothing new, Tom does handle it decently, but there's not a whole lot to it overall, outside of some nice singing and harmonizing during the first verse. This is one that to me felt a little bit like filler.
I wish that I could help.
I wish I wasn't sick.
I wish I was Tom MacDonald. I'd be just like him.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
The good old days are out of reach. I wish that they were closer. I wish I wasn't anxious and I
But I like where it's going.
Can you give me back my yesterdays? I'll give you my tomorrows. Forget all of my morals and just live like I cannot remember sorrow. I wish on shooting stars were they satellites. Maybe they were too far. And I need something even stronger. Give me childhood, my mother and my father and my sister. Make up for all the recent ones I'm missing while I'm touring the country for a living. Give me everything I wish I had. Oh wait, I think I got it. I'm a rapper like I always promised them I would accomplish. This is awesome, man. I wish I had a friend to tell I'd call him.
What I have to say for this one is probably gonna surprise you guys, because outside of the production being a little bit too light and airy, like you can tell with this production and the fact that the music video has a challenge centered around it, you can tell that he wanted this to be this big pop rap kind of anthem, which isn't a bad thing. It just feels like it's a bit too obvious. But outside of that, I thoroughly enjoy this song and really don't have too much bad to say about it. It really conveys this idea of loss of innocence as you grow up, and how when you were younger you always thought, oh, I can't wait to be older, I can't wait to grow up. But then when you do grow up, you realize that some parts of adult life aren't all that great, and you might even be wishing that you could go back to when you were a kid again, when things were simpler.
Way back when on Beaver Drive, when the floor was lava, I could fly. Ayo, wished I was big like then. Never thought I'd wanna be a kid again.
I mean, there's the lyrics on the hook where he says, I wish on shooting stars, or were they satellites, maybe they were too far. I used to blow apart a million dandelions, now they don't grow in my yard. Like, that's a sad image. There's no attempts to be controversial here, no overwhelming ego on display. Just an honest, genuine song about wanting to go back to a simpler time. I even like the hook on this one. It has a big, grand feeling to it, and it's one of the few hooks where I feel like Tom is genuinely putting his all into it. The album hasn't necessarily been great up to this point, but there's 2 or 3 tracks within this first 8 that I have really enjoyed. That instrumental just started straight away.
I'm locked and loaded till the motor overheats. I'll rock the boat and seas I'm not supposed to be. I'm killing the coffers with everything that I wanted, and then I'll drag them behind me so they will not be forgotten. I hit the bottom so often that when I did hit the bottom, it didn't hurt even a bit, but now I proceed with caution.
And after what was possibly the best song on the album so far, we reach Ashes. And this is where I'm assuming the album will start to take a little bit of a descent for me. It's not like I already have the entire script done and know what's coming. This song might be fine if you're into what sounds to me like a pretty generic rap rock crossover track, but it's just not something that I enjoy. It reminds me of a higher quality version of a song that Tom would have on his really bad first album. The instrumental is pretty wild, to be fair, and just like the intro track, I can give credit to Tom's multisyllabic rhyming seeming stronger than ever here, but overall, not too much on this one for me personally. Culture vulture. I can't wait to hear what he's going to talk about on this one. I wonder.
They're angry, I appropriate the culture. Say I'm just another white boy, I'm a vulture. If I was black, they would have said that all my lyrics were conscious. But I'm white, so they're labeled ignorant.
No, they would not.
I'm racist for hating on all the mumble rap content because they're black and black people have created the genre. They say we're just culture vultures. You don't wanna be my brother. Ignore the problem, I'll be fine. You wouldn't care about this song if I was broken, I know. So what you mad for? I'm not.
Yeah, obviously people wouldn't care about this song if you were Broken Unknown, because they wouldn't hear it. Now, as I said, that last track started the descent of this album, and this song keeps it spiraling down. If I was black, they would have said all my lyrics are conscious. Yes, that's a real lyric, and no, Tom. No one would be saying that. Right now, you're pretty much a cringier, white version of Hopsin lyrically. If you were black, you'd just be a much cringier version of Hopsin lyrically. The issue there isn't your race, it's your writing. Now, I do think the term culture vulture is overused and misused a lot of the time, but Tom doesn't handle the subject well at all here. It's kind of like White Boy Part 2 in a sense, where he's complaining about people giving him a hard time for his pale skin and pretty blue eyes. That's right, Tom. Take hip-hop back from the black rappers. Also, a big theme on this song is that he seems to think mainstream rappers are afraid of him, and that's why they want to see him fail, and that's why they label him as culture vulture, because, you know, Tom has released multiple songs criticizing them for talking about alcohol, strippers, money, painting himself as this revolutionary truth-sayer once again. But so many people have done that before him.
Ever since I started pointing out that these rappers can only rap about strippers and mixing liquor with Xanax, they started tripping cause my vision has been reaching the masses. I'm not afraid to say that rappers are just popular addicts.
Criticizing the content of mumble rap is pretty much a tired topic in hip-hop at this point, and rappers have covered it numerous times. Huge rappers, black rappers, and white rappers. Oh, and do you see what this is, guys? That's right, it's another bad hook.
They say we're just culture vultures. Mine is yours and yours is mine. You don't wanna be my brother, but know the problem, I'll be fine.
They say we're just culture vultures. Oh, so cringy. It's so terrible. If you're watching this video and you think that was a good hook, tell me down in the comments below so we can organize a scrap. If you want a much better track that handles a similar subject to this one, I would strongly recommend White Rapper by Ritz. Straight white male, heard this of course.
Straight white male, hate myself. Mad that my skin so pale. Shotguns and meth are both on sale. I'ma need to treat myself.
Did you get it, guys? Because these are stereotypes about straight white males. Straight white male. Okay, I've said it a few times already, so I'm gonna get this one out of the way real quick. Say it with me, guys. 1, 2, 3. It's another bad hook. On Straight White Male, Tom sarcastically plays into the stereotypes that there are about straight white males, and that's pretty much all there is to the song. Quite a lot of his fans are very quick to label this as a satirical track whenever you bring it up, and yeah, that's obvious. Everybody gets the meaning of this track. It's just very weak, kind of pointless satire. It's not even original too. There's a Bo Burnham song which came out before this with the exact same name, exact same concept, but what Tom does with his version is take away any of the real comedy that Bo had in his version and significantly dilutes what made Bo's version satire. Like the last one, it's another song that showcases the worst side of Tom MacDonald, and unfortunately, that's the side that's on display the most. If I was black, heard this one too, of course.
If I was black, I won't lie, I'd be scared to walk at night. The whole neighborhood is tripping like I'm out committing crimes. See, white privilege ain't a money thing, but it's white people who are running things. They cut the police, I say fuck the whole clan, I'm proposing these sheets.
Third really bad track in a row. Third really bad track in a row. Whoa. This is a song that just really didn't need to be made. Don't get me wrong, showing that you understand the struggles that people of other races or backgrounds can face is a good thing. But I don't know if trying to rap literally from what you imagine their perspective to be is the right way to go about it. Mainly because we already have thousands and thousands of black artists within hip-hop who tell us what their struggles really are from experience. Raps that are based in reality, so is there any point in Tom hypothesizing over what his problems might be if he were not a straight white male? You'll laugh when you hear what his inspiration for this song was as well.
This is how If I Was Black happened. I'm sitting at this pizza shop with my girlfriend, and these two black guys walk in. And one's got like a tall, like flat top haircut, and the other guy has like sun-bleached like braids, and he took the two front braids and tied them around the back of his head to keep all the other ones out of his face. And I just like saw them walk in, and then like literally said to my girlfriend, I was like, yo, if I was black, that's like the hardest fucking hairstyle like ever. I would rock the shit out of that. And then I just thought about what I said, and I was like what a weird thing to say. And then I started thinking, if I was black, how else would my life be different? How would I dress? How would I look? How would I act?
Yep. He wrote it in a day after seeing the hairstyle of a black person that Tom assumed he would have his hair styled like if he was black. Bruh.
Please don't rap about girls in chains. Please don't rap about doing drugs.
I feel like I recognize the sample on the beat from somewhere. Has that been used in another rap song before?
I am to destroy it, yeah. I am switching it up. I am the man that I was way before I blew up and everyone fell in love. Please don't drink to kill the pain. You sobered up and made that choice. Please don't stop responding to my comments if you took it wrong.
As you can tell, from all the song titles on this album, you can pretty much look at them and figure out exactly what the tracks are going to be talking about and the exact angle that they're going to be coming from. And this track is no different. It's all about fans who want to control the music you make and get mad if you don't do things their way. And I can't even say that I hate the content on this song or disagree with what it's trying to get at, but my god, does Tom's delivery make it so hard to get behind what he's saying. I know he's imitating the whiny voices of his fake fans during the verses, but it's so unbearable to listen to for 3 whole verses.
Please don't drink to kill the pain. You sobered up and made that choice. Please don't stop responding to my comments if you took it wrong.
Also, this is just my opinion, but some of the things that these fake fans are complaining about are actually pretty valid.
Please stop using auto-tune.
I would really recommend taking that advice, Tom. Or at least improve the way you use it, because auto-tune is utilized so weakly throughout this album. It's definitely not the worst one on here from a lyrical standpoint, and like I said, it says a lot of stuff that I can agree with. I don't think fans should have that much of a say over your creativity and how you live your life. The main problem is it's just such an annoying sounding song. It's also very simple and repetitive structurally, so it's not one that I think needed to be the 3rd longest song on the album.
Everybody's addicted to something, cup of coffee or a substance. TV show or trying to get that money or being a jerk in the comments. Y'all ain't taking that Versace with you when they put your body down inside the coffin. I appreciate what I got. I don't need to hate what I'm not. Know exactly what you bag. Y'all are fake. Fool's gold on the chain. So obsessed with being cool. Y'all are lying to her face. Man, it's fake.
It's another song that's like, you're fake. I'm not fake.
Your things won't leave this planet when you go. You'll rot while your designer clothes get sold in vintage stores.
Fool's Gold is another one I'd place in the category of filler. No matter how dumb some of Tom's more controversial tracks can get, at least there's something to really talk about with them. But this is just a really preachy track about how real Tom MacDonald is and how he doesn't need to buy expensive clothes or fake jewelry to feel comfortable. He's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. This is a real white boy right here. Why does almost every topic he covers have to circle back around to Tom being this symbol of truth and excellence? Oh, and in case you guys wanted to know, we do have another case of a bad hook on here with the flimsy auto-tune again. The beat is simple but hard, and Tom's fast-moving flow to match the tempo of it is pretty smooth, but it just can't really take away from how preachy this track sounds. It's just so, just smothered in ego. We've been on a pretty bad streak since Ashes to Ashes, and judging by the title of the next song on this, it's not about to get any better. Oh lord. Hitting a woman. Here we go.
I knew this girl back in 9th grade. Told me that she loved me and I guess she liked in my face. Cheated on me twice with a guy who had a nice place. Told me all these stories about her daddy, he abandoned her. Discovered she was really just a hooker.
getting cash from all the bachelors. If you were a man, you get knocked out. I don't give a fuck, don't tell me I should calm down. Your lucky mama taught me don't be hating no woman. But if I did, you would deserve it. Probably go to jail, it'd be worth it. Hating no woman. I know that I regret it, but I really want to teach a bitch a lesson. Don't you want equality? I'd beat a dude to death for honestly.
I am speechless. Tom MacDonald really outdid himself on this one, exceeded expectations for how dumb his songwriting could get. This song, as you can tell, is called Hitting a Woman. I saw this on the track list when I bought the album and I thought, surely not. But I am not joking when I say this is a song about how much Tom wishes, how much he wishes he could have hit different women throughout his life. Obviously the song gives context to these situations, but that's straight up what the song is about. And it's not even like the context helps that much. He's talking about wanting to beat them up for the most minor things in some cases. Like the very first case of many he covers on the song is about this girl that used to beat him up when he was 6 years old. You know, used to make his nose all bloody, just really laid into him. And I don't think in that case, like, defending yourself in some way at least is wrong. But then he goes on to talking about wanting to hit women for the most unnecessary things. Like, for example, a girl who was a prostitute while in a relationship with him and didn't tell him about it. Which I could understand maybe being mad at or wanting to break up with her for, because there is a breach of trust there if she's hiding things from you. But wanting to, as Tom puts it, knock her out for something like that? Or he's wanted to hit a woman before for the simple act of being fake towards him.
I knew this girl when I was trying to be a rapper. Always tried to treat me like my music didn't matter. Acted like a bitch around her friends, but then after she'd be cool when they left. Man, I wish I could have smacked her.
Why did you write this? Why did you think this was a good idea to put out? This is this is a train wreck, man. Or there's also a situation where he talks about a Christian girl who told Tom that he was going to hell and he was making the devil's music. I can't be the only one who thinks these aren't things that warrant being knocked out for. This song is just laughable because of how seriously it takes itself with this train wreck of a concept. It sounds like Eminem if he had zero wit, commentary or irony to his bars and he just genuinely had the burning urge to assault women. Listen to this chorus.
Tommy, don't be hitting no woman. But if I did, you would deserve it. Probably go to jail, it'd be worth it. I know that I regret it, but I really want to teach a bitch a lesson.
What are you doing, Tom? What are you doing? This is a track that proves that Tom MacDonald doesn't say what everyone else is too afraid to say. Tom MacDonald says what everyone else is too intelligent to say.
I'm the leader of people that y'all have labeled as evil. I give you one middle finger, but I think one needs a sequel. Now screaming the
okay, calm down, Eminem.
Now I eat your flesh and hit the studio like I record. I'ma get them like they stole my bike and I was poor. Fuck a Ferrari, I walk alone on the road. I don't need to be guided.
Oh, we're still here. Oh, the song's over. Good. It's the first time I've had to do that since my reaction to Lil Xan's album. I haven't pulled out a book since then, but I guess we've set new ground with this one. I don't know how Tom managed to make a near 5-minute song with this one, saying nothing new and not much of note at all. I'm everything you hate, I'm way better than you, I'm this, you're that, etc, etc. When he's not being personal or speaking on specific topics, his music is quite a drag to get through, and that's what Middle Fingers is. I have to say, it's funny that he says Eminem went soft, fell off, and that Tom plans to take his throne on a song where he's so clearly imitating Eminem's old style. Look at these bars and tell me that's just not a weaker version of Slim Shady lyrics. And he does this over a beat that sounds just like an early Eminem or Hopsin type of instrumental.
I feel like M went soft, I feel like Dre got old. All the greats fell off, I gotta break that mold and take that throne. I'll burn that bridge and make that known.
It's not surprising that he throws Eminem and Hopsin into the tags in all his music videos. This second half has been rough, and overly long, non-specific songs like this one don't help the experience at all.
I don't feel good. I can feel sadness in my bones. Feel like I'm becoming a ghost. I don't feel alright. I don't feel safe when I'm at home. Why am I like this? I used to be fine with the silence. The volume on everything set to the highest. I feel ugly, yeah, yeah. I feel stupid, yeah, yeah. I feel like this feeling will
Even the auto-tune sounds nice on this one.
I don't feel good. I can feel sadness in my bones. I don't take pills, I probably should.
And finally, we have a nice little break from the bad songs on the album. It's been a while since I've liked one on here, but we have finally reached another one that I kind of enjoy. Like Side Effects, it's another track dealing with Tom's mental health issues. Now, unlike Side Effects, it's not in-depth or super personal with the lyrics, they're a lot more general on here. But for me, that's okay, because this one is all about the dark, eerie vibe that it gives off. It's much more of an atmospheric experience. The production is filled with ominous, looming sounds, and Tom experiments with a slightly bigger variety of deliveries than his standard, typical rapping voice, and all in all, that makes for a much more intriguing piece of music. This was actually really well made, from the production to the delivery to the mixing, and I appreciate that it goes a little bit darker and experimental with the sound. Good stuff on this one.
Muscles and makeup is all a man or a woman needs. And if you bought into that narrative, you're bound to be failures. You've been tricked into valuing money over our lives. Diamond rings worth a...
I feel like I've heard this song before, and I'm sure my twin will speak more on it, so I won't say anything.
Pop culture got you losing your truth, man. It's horse out of women and turns the dudes into douchebags. It's lies on the TV, it's lies in the paper. It's devils parading as if they were saviors.
Okay. I know the bad hook thing has kind of been running throughout this video, but seriously, what the hell is this hook here? I think it's mainly the kicks that ruin this one, because the hook plays later on in the song without any drums, and it sounds fairly bad, but it's still better.
To get where no one goes, you need to walk alone. The only shit you know is lies that you've been told. All of the news, all of the rules.
The drums just make it seem too overcrowded and messy. This one, essentially, to draw another comparison to Hobson, is Tom's version of Fly. It really does cover the exact same topics of materialism and the media making us feel like we need to be like celebrities to fit in. He even has a line that's basically a replica of the best form of marketing is marketing that doesn't feel like marketing line that Hobson had on Fly.
The government been talking about microchipping our minds. Whoa, and we refused and blow 1,000 on an iPhone. Most effective way to chip a person is to hide it and rebrand it so it's cool, call it mobile devices.
I don't know if it was intentional, but it feels like such a blatant copy of that track. I was hoping we could go on a nice streak to close the album out after I Don't Feel Good was a pretty nice track, but this song has already put an end to that. We're almost through the album.
I admit it, I'm afraid they gon' kill me for this. Probably put me in my grave if I die. It was big pharma or government. Been putting too much.
Ha!
Look, the Illuminati real. They're trying to make you dumb, trying to numb you out with bills. Trying to make you broke, trying to tell you it's a deal. Recognize that fan, I bet they wanna see me dead. They're gonna kill me.
Okay, this hook is kinda wavy though. Kinda wavy.
Stop me from exposing all the medicine and currency and terrorism. Always been controlling us so perfectly. And I know I recognize that fan. I bet they wanna see me dead. They're gonna kill me.
I wish this song wasn't about what it was about, because it actually sounds pretty good at points. What an anthem. Save Tom, everybody. Save Tom. This song is pure comedy. Oh my god. So you know how I've said before that Tom likes to paint himself as this revolutionary that's the only one saying these things about the government and big pharma? Well, I admit it, I'm afraid they're gonna kill me for this, probably put me in the grave for the lyrics I spit. Been exposing the truth and all the secrets they covering. If I die, it was either big pharma or government. Tom! Then he throws in some "the Illuminati is real" and 9/11 was an inside job bars to tie it all together, and completes it with a skit of the government assassins breaking into his house and killing him.
Nah, I just walked up and the door was like open a crack. Yo, fuck, they're in the house! Babe! They're in the house!
If this doesn't show you that Tom should be the musical poster child for I'm 14 and This Is Deep, then I don't know what will. And hold up, what's that I see underneath the music video for this song? It all makes sense now. Make a song that makes your young fan base think there's assassins out to kill you so that they connect with you more and get worried and buy your Protect Tom MacDonald at all costs shirts. I might be wrong with my assessment there, but that really makes it feel like this song was just made to peddle merch. But in all fairness, there is one good thing about this song. We have a good hook, ladies and gentlemen. Get out the champagne. Let off the party poppers, let's go, get the bottles out, have a celebration. We have some decent low-key auto-tune with very catchy harmonizing. We never thought it could be done. Was that bit really worth it? I hope someone laughed at that. So yeah, that and the smooth atmospheric beat are the only two things that I really got from this one. Other than that, it's just laughable. Only 2 tracks left to save this one, Tom. We're in the closing stretch.
Earth could be flat, the presidents could be aliens, and Americans might even be nicer than Canadians. Unpopular opinions got us caught up in the craziness. I know that life is cruel and lately it ain't fair at all. You hate your job, your phone is locked. We're so angry, everyone we don't know.
Okay, so this is basically Everybody Hates Me Part 2. It's the exact same style of upbeat piano instrumental, although there is a couple more layers to this one with the really nicely implemented vocal sample throughout it. The video is very colourful and vibrant, but the content on this one definitely does take a much less smug and egotistical stance than Everybody Hates Me. Because this song is all about not hating people for having unpopular opinions, or opinions that differ from yours. During the verses, Tom lists off a bunch of these divisive opinions, ones that aren't necessarily his own, but are ones that people do have, such as Trump being a good president, that it was the feds that killed Biggie and Tupac, and there's a few light-hearted ones sprinkled throughout it as well, such as Americans are actually nicer than Canadians. The idea behind it is actually a lot more positive than almost any other song that Tom has made, with a message of letting go of your anger over other people's opinions and just focusing on being yourself and being happy. The only flaw with the way this concept is presented is when it comes to the more political opinions that are expressed on this song. Like, of course, people that think Trump is a terrible president are gonna be at least somewhat mad at the people who think he's a great president, because it's those people that got him voted into office, and you can't really be expected to sit back and be content with that if you feel differently. Or if you have the stance that abortion should be legal, if you believe that women should be able to have that choice over their own bodies, then of course you're going to be pretty mad at people who think abortion should be illegal, because those people would be taking that choice away from women. Like, those are opinions that I can understand people being mad at other people over. But for most of the song, when it comes to the light-hearted and less serious opinions, I can really get behind this idea of not being too mad about them, focusing on the positives of life. Like I said, it's almost a clone of Everybody Hates Me sound-wise, but it does sound pretty good, and I do like what Tom is saying on here.
Honestly, y'all have been killing my confidence. All of the negative comments and gossip, it's hard to imagine the stress that I'm under and loot. I apologize.
He's not gonna be sorry for any of this, it's gonna flip.
The haters were right when they said I suck. I did my
Oh yeah, he's definitely gonna say, I'm sorry, that I'm not sorry.
Sorry, that doesn't bother me. I don't know anybody in the
Yeah, there we go.
I have no regrets in my biology. Carry the weight of my songs all on top of me. I will not break, I'm not made out of pottery. I ain't gonna stop with the hits, come block with the kid on block like Pac with a bin. I'm a god with the pen, no cops in the crib.
The flows and the rhymes specifically have improved quite a bit, I can give him that.
That's your next best, I'm a gold trophy. Your death threats were ghost stories.
And finally, as my voice is starting to get more and more worn out, we have reached track number 21, the closing chapter of the Ghost Stories experience. So, is it a good closer? Well, again, we have very strong internal rhymes and multisyllabic rhymes, even if some of it is just Tom taking the longest way to say some very simple things for the sake of having more rhymes. And it does have a nice, if slightly predictable setup, with Tom apologizing for all these things that people have criticized him for recently, only for him to flip it when the beat drops in and say, you know what, I am sorry. Sorry that I can't apologize. Had you in the first half. He isn't necessarily saying anything that he hasn't covered up to this point in the album already. The only real unique point of this one is the whole I'm sorry setup. And of course, as always, a lot of the content is just, you're this, I'm this, yet again. But it works pretty nicely as a good showcase for Tom's improved flowing and rhyming ability on this album. It was also a nice touch to end it with the same line that he had on the first song about death threats being ghost stories. It really feels like those two albums are kind of tied together with this new persona that Tom has been portraying. So, not too bad at all. It was an okay track to close out a not so great album. So, let's finish this off the way that my twin CDTV the G usually finishes his reactions. Thank you for the help, by the way, twin. My twin, his channel will be linked down below, like I said. And that is by listing off the best tracks and the worst tracks from the album. The strongest on this whole project were Everybody Hates Me, Side Effects, I Wish, I Don't Feel Good, and Buttholes, I guess, with I Wish being the strongest one out of all of those. The worst tracks, oh boy, the worst ones on here. They were Be a Man, Culture Vulture, Straight White Male, If I Was Black, Hitting a Woman, Walk Alone, and Middle Fingers. This album, it was really a drag to get through. 21 tracks long, and it just nosedived during the second half. That stretch of songs from Ashes to Ashes up to Middle Fingers is the hardest part of the album to get through, because that's really where the worst tracks lie, and just some of the most dull ones. Credit where credit's due, it is impressive that Tom does so much of this by himself. I'm not 100% sure because there aren't any production credits at the back of the album, but based off of the fact that Tom has produced the instrumentals for almost every music video that he's dropped, I would assume that he produced most of the songs on this album as well. And like I've said in many videos before, I really respect rappers who also produce their own music, because that just makes it even more time consuming. There's a lot more work that goes into it, and it's just one extra skill that not every rapper out there has. I would never say that Tom MacDonald isn't talented or hardworking, but I just don't feel like he puts those talents to good use, at least for me personally. The end result of the music that he comes out with just isn't very good at all for me, and that's what most of this album was like. I will say, Tom seems to have improved from his last album, Death Threats. The production on this one seems a tad more polished and professional sounding. There are at least a few nice hooks on this album, even though we know they're mostly bad. And as mentioned, his rhyming ability is fairly impressive throughout. It's better, but it's certainly not a good album, and it is still probably one of the worst that I've heard this year, with Tom still coming off like an arrogant, self-centered conspiracy theorist rapper. So, should you guys buy this one? I don't know. I don't control your purchases. But if you guys don't want to buy it, I do hope that this review gave you a good insight into what the album is like. And like I said at the start, if you did like this album and you want to hear more of it, I will be leaving the link to Tom's store down in the description below. That is all I've got to say for today, guys. There's my main social media accounts right there. I would really appreciate you guys following them, as I'm trying to hit 20k on both before the year ends. This has been CDTVProductions, here with my twin CDTV the G, and I bought Tom MacDonald's Ghost Stories album so that you don't have to.